Alright, so we have plenty of detail to model in. Let's try to wrap it up in this video and get this done. Okay, so I see I've got this really big knob over here. I'm going to go ahead and create that right now. Let me get that out of the way. What I'm going to do is go to my front view again, and I'm going to create another circle. Alright, let me take the radius here. I'm going to try to make the circle for that area that's right there. And number of steps, since this is an object that's seen from the front, it should have a good amount of steps to it, so it doesn't look too faceted. So I'm going to go for about 6 steps. I'm going to convert it to an editable poly. And then I'm going to move it up to about right here. I'm going to select the only polygon it has, and I'm going to extrude that polygon up like so. If I look at my reference image, what we're going to have to end up doing is coming in here and insetting this guy a bit. And I could see here clearly in my front view here, I could see where I have to inset that to. So about that much. I'm going to move that up a little bit like so to give it the look that it has in the actual image. Then I'm going to inset that with the tool options here, just a little bit like this. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to extrude that in on itself like that. And then I'm going to inset with the tool options again. Hit OK. Now I'm going to extrude it back out. And the amount that I want to extrude it back out is pretty much unknown, simply because we don't have a side image. So based on the image, it looks like it's going to be something like this. Okay, I'm just going to take this edge right here, that loop, and won't select it, so that's pretty easy. I'll just select this polygon, and then control click on edges to select the edges for that polygon. I'm going to chamfer that. Give it a couple of segments, or a few segments here. Maybe 4 segments is good. Hit OK. That's what we end up with. I'm going to select all the polygons here. I'm going to go down and auto smooth it. Okay, so that's what we're going to end up with. And from distance, it looks pretty good. Okay, so got that done at least. We got a lot more details here to go. We need to create these little plugs right there. We need to also create a bunch of little knobs and buttons. So let's actually go ahead and do that pretty quickly here. Let me move this guy out of the way. I'm going to go back to my front view here. I'm going to go ahead and use the circle tool to create a little circle right there. I'm going to create that circle there. Maybe I'll increase the radius a little bit like so. Okay, number of steps is a little bit high for that little piece, so I'm going to go down with about maybe 4 steps. I'm going to convert that to an editable poly. Go back here to my perspective view. You can see it's inside the mesh, which is no good, so I'm going to pull it out. This is a very simple button, so I'm just going to pull it out like so. And I'm not even going to bother beveling that right there. I'm not. Just going to push it into the mesh a little bit like that. And that'll be good enough. What I will do, however, is select the polygons and do an auto smooth on that. Okay. I'm going to go back into the front view here. And I'm going to make some clones of this. About 3, so it makes all of these. Don't like where it positioned at, so I'll just move it manually myself. Okay. That's good. I'm going to take this one here and recycle it. Make this one slightly bigger. Make a clone of it. Make a clone of it. Make a bigger one over here. Bigger one over here. We got some really small ones over here, so I'm going to go ahead and create those. I'm going to clone that over there. Clone it right there. And we need another one over here. Okay, where else do we need one of these? We need a really small one right here. Let's scale down a little bit. We need a larger one over here. So I'm going to scale that one up. Something like that. And over here what we need basically is something here with a hole. So I'm going to take that to about there, and I'm going to scale it down about this much. I'm going to take the polygon that's right there and inset it. Not quite working the way I wanted it to. So let me scale that down. Select that polygon. I'm going to use the inset tool. Sometimes it works a little bit better. I'm going to go like that, hit OK. And I'll extrude that in on itself like so. Alright. And let me see what else I have to create here for the front. I have to create some more of these guys for over here. So I'm going to put one there, put another one there, put another one there. I'm going to take this one and make a smaller one right here. Okay, so these are details that are going to be seen from far away, so they don't have to be 100% accurate. It saves a lot of time and helps you to meet deadlines, especially when they get close. Okay, so I'm going to go with something like this. I'm going to go ahead and take these two edges right here, and I'm going to go ahead and connect that maybe one time. I'm going to take those two edges, connect that one time. I'm going to move that up to about right there. And I'm going to go to edges over here, and I'm going to insert maybe one vertex. I'm going to move this vertex to over here. I'm going to make a more detailed piece right here. Okay, and let me see what I can do here. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this edge up here and this edge down here, and I'm going to insert vertices on those as well. Make sure I got the right ones, and I do. I'm going to take those vertices and this one there, and I'm going to align that in the X. Move that over here. I'm going to use the cut tool to connect that. I'm going to do this in the perspective view here. Go to wireframe, connect that to the top and bottom right there. Now what I could do is I could take that vertex that's right there. I'm going to go back to the front view here. And I'm going to chamfer that. To about out here. I'm going to hit apply to chamfer it again. Get something like this going. And if I want to, I could probably chamfer that again. So I get something like this. Hit OK. I'm going to select all these extra vertices that are up there and collapse those. All these vertices here, collapse those. all these vertices right down here, collapse those, clean this stuff up a little bit, collapse that. Okay. Take all these vertices and I'm going to scale them up a little bit. So I end up with something like this. And I'm going to take all these vertices, just these right here to make the circle. And I'm going to use a technique that I actually used previously. I'm going to go to the modifiers up here. I'm going to go to parametric deformers and use spherify. Try to make that as circular as possible. Didn't work out too well right there, so let me collapse that. I'm going to take these edges right here. Or actually just the top and bottom edges. Scale that down a little bit. Just trying to get more of a circular type shape to this. Just something like that. I'm going to take that new polygon that I have right there. And with this polygon, what I'm going to do is, let me go back to my front view here. I can more or less see what kind of shape I have to create here. So let me use the inset tool options here. I'm going to inset this to about right here. Hit OK. I'm going to extrude that in. About that much is fine. Then I'm going to take that edge right there, select its ring. And I'm going to connect that one time. I'm going to select this edge that's right there, select its loop. I'm going to move it in like so a little bit. Something like that. I'm going to select this edge here, select its loop. And then I'm going to chamfer that. Add a few segments there. Hit OK. So I'm going to end up with something more like that. I'm going to take this guy right here, move it in like so. Take that polygon there and pull it up like this. Okay. We'll take this guy, select all its polygons, and I'm going to go to auto smooth. Smooth that area out, and from a distance it actually renders out pretty good. See that? That's basically what I was going for. Okay, now with that done, what we can do is do some details on the back side. There's no more details I want to do on the front side. Again, this is just a background prop. So what I can do here is I can hit V on the keyboard and switch to a back view. Then hit Alt and B, go to Files, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up a back image that I have right here, this one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a circle, create myself a little circle right there. I'm going to go for about 2 for the interpolation. I'm going to convert that to an editable poly. I'm going to take the polygon right there. I'm going to use the inset tool options here. So I can do something like about this. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to use the inset again. I'm going to inset a good amount to make the little hole right there. I'm going to extrude in like this. I'm going to select this border of edges right there and extrude that, pull it back like so. I'm going to select this ring of edges right there and connect that one time down the middle. I'm going to take the loop of edges that's right here and pull that in to about right there. I'm going to take this loop of edges, pull that in a little bit like that. And I might chamfer that a little bit. Maybe just one time like that. Hit OK. Alright. Maybe I'll take this ring of edges here. Connect that once and pull that out a little bit like that. Select all the polygons and let's go down here and let's auto smooth this. Render that out, looks pretty good. Okay. So I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to place him in the back over here. Stick it into the geometry a little bit, like so. And we're good right there. Now all we have to do is start to position this. And we're going to make some clones here. So let's clone that a few times. So we end up with something like this. Let me take a couple of these, clone them down here, clone them again, clone them again. I'm going to clone these again. I'm going to clone those. Make a few extra copies. Basically, it's just cloning this stuff over and over again, which is no big deal. It's actually pretty easy to do. I'm not going to do every single detail back here. Just going to do those important ones, like the ones that stick out. Okay, so there we go. We end up with something like this. Alright, and I'm going to say I'm good with that. This is going to be good enough for doing a background prop. So now let's finish this off. Let's take this guy and let's attach all these objects. Let's go to the back side over here and attach all this stuff as well. So I'm just making this all one object here. And of course the legs there on the bottom. There we go. Alright, so it's pretty much done. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this. I'm going to call this Miscellaneous Electronic, for lack of a better name. I was never good at naming stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy here, and let me actually confirm that it's all one piece, and it is. Let me take him, and I'm going to export. I'm going to go to Export Selected. I'm going to call this Miscellaneous Electronic. And it just gave me a little error message there, basically because of the name. I didn't like the way that I called that, so I'm going to call it Miscellaneous with an underscore and call it... Let me see if I can remember how to spell electronic here. And there we go. I'll use my previous settings, hit done, and this is good. We're done with this one. So we'll move on from here and model the next object.